It is June 168 BC, and on the ridges of Pydna along Macedonia's coast, 40,000 men await the decisive signal. From the north, Perseus' phalanx advances, brandishing 6-meter sarissas. From the south, the Roman legions push upward, freshly landed on the Thessalian shore and poised to strike in open formation. Between Mount Olympus and the river Alicamon, the final great clash of two rival worlds for mastery of Greece is about to erupt very soon, dramatically. But will one victory in the field really pacify Macedonia? And what will happen when a shadowy claimant drags war back to those same lands barely 20 years later? In 179 BC, after Philip V's death, the Macedonian throne passes to his son, Perseus. Young, ambitious, and eager to restore lost prestige, the new monarch launches a sweeping domestic reform. He organizes the royal treasury, curbs waste, and then strengthens the army once more, bringing the phalanx back to 20,000 men and hiring seasoned Thracian mercenaries renowned for courage and ferocity. Meanwhile, Perseus marries Laodice, a Seleucid princess, instantly alarming Rome. The possible rise of a Macedonian-Syrian axis between the two leading Hellenistic powers threatens to destabilize the already tense Eastern Mediterranean region. Tension erupts at the Delphic Congress in 174 BC, where Rome poses as arbiter between Macedonia and Pergamum, a longtime Roman ally. King Eumenes II of Pergamum forcefully tells the Senate back home that Perseus is pursuing aggressive diplomacy, accusing him of bankrolling dangerous alliances with the Danubian Bastarnae and with various Illyrian tribes. The alarm raised by Eumenes echoes through Rome. Senators begin debating a preemptive war, determined to prevent Perseus from rebuilding the very threat his father had posed to the Republic only a few decades earlier.
Did you know that most people who watch our documentaries aren't subscribed yet? If you enjoy animated maps and history, join our community. Leave a like and subscribe so you never miss the next episodes.
In 171 BC, under the pretext of protecting the Greek polis from Perseus' alleged expansionist ambitions, Rome formally declares war on Macedonia. The Third Macedonian War has officially begun. The first military moves, however, favor the young Macedonian king. On the banks of the Aeos River, some 30,000 Macedonians, phalangites, peltasts, and cavalry, meet 20,000 Romans led by Consul Publius Licinius Crassus. The clash ends in a clear Macedonian victory. Exploiting the terrain and with numerical superiority, the mobility of Thessalian horse, and the efficiency of a reorganized phalanx, Perseus drives the legionnaires back hard, costing them over 2,000 dead or wounded. Perseus' military prestige grows further that same year, 171 BC, after the Battle of Callinicus in Thessaly. There, Macedonian forces inflict another heavy defeat on the Romans, causing further serious losses and throwing the Republic's entire Greek strategy into crisis. Yet instead of exploiting these successes swiftly, Perseus hesitates and prefers to consolidate the ground gained. The war thus turns into a grueling positional struggle along the mountain passes of Olympus. Larissa, a strategic city at the center of Thessaly, becomes the main logistical base for both armies. The Macedonian defensive lines look impregnable, yet this pause lets the Romans regain precious strength. Back in Rome, awareness grows that a radical breakthrough is urgently needed. The Senate replaces Licinius Crassus and reinforces the legions, dispatching newly raised recruits and battle-hardened veteran troops with Greek experience. The Republic thus lays the groundwork for a decisive change of strategy. The stalemate is soon to end, and Rome is determined to seize back the initiative. In 168 BC, Rome decides the time has come to settle accounts with Perseus for good. The Senate appoints Lucius Aemilius Paullus commander, a veteran of Spanish campaigns famed for severity and discipline. Before advancing, Paullus sets up an impeccable supply chain, linking the ports of Euboea directly to the Thessalian plains, guaranteeing the legionnaires a steady and abundant flow of provisions and other vital stores. Leading about 25,000 Roman and allied soldiers, Paullus crosses the treacherous pass of Petra, exploiting the legion's great mobility and endurance. Historian Polybius notes how the legionnaires, orderly and silent, marched for hours under heavy loads without losing cohesion, fully aware that the campaign's outcome would rest upon their discipline and on the favor of fortune. On the 22nd of June, 168 BC, near Pydna, Roman and Macedonian forces finally face each other for the decisive engagement. Perseus fields about 44,000 men, including 20,000 heavy phalangites carrying 6-meter sarissas. At first, the phalanx advances in close order, displaying its devastating power on open ground. But once it reaches the uneven slopes of the nearby hills, the rigid Macedonian formation rapidly loses cohesion. The soldiers break the alignment of the long sarissas, opening wide, dangerous gaps between the ranks there. This is the moment Paullus has awaited. Roman maniples, autonomous groups of about 120 men, immediately slip into the open spaces of the disordered phalanx. At the same instant, Macedonian cavalry and Thracian mercenaries on the flank yield under pressure from allied horsemen, fleeing the field. The phalanx, now encircled, collapses in under an hour. The losses are staggering. 20,000 Macedonians killed and 11,000 prisoners, while the Romans count fewer than 1,000 dead. Perseus flees north, but is caught soon after on the island of Samothrace. Thus ends the Antigonid dynasty, dominant for over a century and a half. In Rome, Paullus celebrates a magnificent triumph. More than 2,000 carts laden with gold, weapons, and treasures parade through the streets. After Pydna, the Roman legion becomes the Mediterranean's dominant military model. The Macedonian phalanx, invincible for generations, now belongs only to the history books. In 167 BC, having defeated Perseus, Rome opts against outright annexation of Macedonia, choosing a subtler path. The region is divided into 4 koina, autonomous republics with their own assemblies, forbidden to unite or raise a common army. An absolute ban is also imposed on exploiting the land's rich gold and silver mines, stripping the country of its principal economic resource for generations to come, and denying a base. To bolster this new framework, Rome deports about 1,000 members of the Macedonian elite, including the historian Polybius, as cultural hostages to Rome. The objective is twofold: guarantee the loyalty of the new republics and spread the Roman model among Macedonian aristocrats. These young nobles become indirect control instruments, symbols of the order Rome has imposed from above. Rome's strategy is plain: divide et impera. Each koinon pays taxes to the Senate separately and faces strict trade restrictions designed to prevent any rapprochement. Pro-Roman elites soon emerge, drawn by the economic and political benefits of cooperation with the Republic. Thus, an apparent Pax Macedonia arises, marked by superficial stability and indirect subjugation for now. Yet historian Ernst Badian criticizes this system, portraying it as inherently unstable and doomed to fail. The artificial divisions imposed by Rome, coupled with the resentment of local populations, form, in Badian's view, an explosive mixture. Macedonia seems pacified, but beneath the calm surface, tensions already smolder, ready to flare again soon. In 150 BC, a man named Andriscus suddenly emerges on the Macedonian scene, proclaiming himself Perseus' son and rightful Antigonid heir. Winning support from Thracian tribes and many Macedonian peasants, weary after a decade of indirect Roman rule, Andriscus rapidly gathers followers and launches a revolt against Roman authority, igniting the Fourth Macedonian War that soon engulfs villages, fortresses, and mountain passes. Rome initially underestimates the threat. In 149 BC, Praetor Publius Juventius Thalna, dispatched with scant forces to crush the rebellion, suffers a severe defeat in Thessaly. More than 4,000 legionnaires are killed, and the praetor himself falls in battle. The uprising spreads across the region, forcing the Roman Senate to intervene decisively to restore order and prestige. To confront this crisis, Rome recalls from Spain Quintus Caecilius Metellus, an experienced commander and skilled strategist, together with veteran contingents toughened by the long Celtiberian War. Metellus also receives crucial naval support from coastal Illyrian cities such as Dyrrhachium and Scodra, assuring the Romans a steady supply along the Adriatic. In 148 BC, near Pydna, Metellus meets Andriscus in the decisive clash. The Roman troops, around 20,000 men, are deployed in a classic pincers maneuver, while Numidian cavalry, an essential ally thanks to its mobility, quickly smashes the Macedonian flanks. Although Andriscus commands about 25,000 soldiers, his lines buckle swiftly. The fight lasts less than 2 hours. Roughly 10,000 Macedonians fall, and Andriscus himself is captured during the rout near the collapsing center. In Rome, Metellus celebrates a grand triumph and receives the honorific agnomen Macedonius. With Andriscus captured and the insurgency permanently suppressed, all organized resistance ends forever. Macedonia officially becomes a Roman province. The Republic's dominance in the Eastern Mediterranean is now absolute for all to see clearly. In 148 BC, after Andriscus' capture, Rome formally transforms Macedonia into its new province. To reinforce its presence, strategic colonies such as Dio and Cassandria are founded and populated by veteran legionnaires, living symbols of the Roman domination on Macedonian soil for generations to come. But Roman influence does not stop there. In 146 BC, the Achaean War leads to the dramatic destruction of Corinth, one of Greece's richest and most prestigious cities. This devastating event is a direct warning to every other polis. To rebel against Rome means losing not only autonomy, but identity itself, and perhaps their very survival. Shortly afterwards, Rome reorganizes territorial control, assigning Macedonia and Epirus to a single proconsul with full administrative and military powers. This is the final proof that the Eastern Mediterranean now lies under the direct oversight of the Roman Republic. The decisive confirmation of Roman hegemony arrives in 133 BC. Attalus III, the last king of Pergamum, bequeaths his realm to Rome, creating the Roman province of Asia. Roman power now stretches solidly from the Adriatic deep into the heart of the Aegean and Asia Minor, binding every trade route between them. The Macedonian phalanx, once the emblem of invincibility, has vanished for good. Rome rules unchallenged over Macedonia and Greece, thus laying the groundwork for its next great challenges: the wars against the Mithridates and continued expansion eastward. A fresh Mediterranean chapter is about to open. If this journey through Macedonia's downfall enthralled you, leave a like, subscribe, and ring the bell for new episodes. Comment: in your view, was Rome a liberator or a conqueror? Share the video and keep exploring ancient history with us.